The Taco Show Diaspora Edition. Leo tuna mambo kali kweli kabisa, karibuni. And first of all, before we start the show, and just welcoming people and encouraging you to share the link, share with our people, and waambie karibuni kwa Taco bwana. Taco somebody, get them on the show. Welcome so much. On behalf of Gerald B. Talk, I welcome everybody to this show for today, and we are talking about diaspora issues. We are talking about Kenyan issues, what affects our country in general, just an open discussion, and we'll go on as more people join. We'll be able to go in. But before we do that, wacha tuende kwa Mungu tufanye maombi alafu tutaanza show. Bwana Boyd, can you have the privilege of giving us a prayer today, please? Boyd, umepotea?
Oh, niko. Okay, tuombe.
Yeah.
Mwenyezi Mungu uliyeziumba mbingu na nchi, uliyeziumba wanyama wanaotembea, wadudu wanaotambaa, ndege ambao wanapaa angani, tuongoze katika maisha yetu. Wale ambao tuko katika maeneo hapa duniani na nchi zingine, naomba utuongoze na ututimishie mapeo yetu ili tupate kukutukuza Mwenyezi Muumba. Tunashukuru pia kwa wale ambao wako nyumbani, tunaombea nchi yetu ili ipate kuwa na amani. Tunaombea kila mmoja wetu umpe baraka, umimine baraka kwao na uongoze katika maisha yao. Naomba nikiamini katika jina la Yesu nikiamini. Amen.
Thank you so much. Bwana Kip, welcome to the show. Bwana Boyd, welcome. I see Bwana Lucas pia kwa hapa hivi. I know he might leave at any moment. Gentlemen, it's been an eventful week. I don't know where to begin, but first of all, a couple of things that I've seen that have happened during the week that we may need to talk about. And to me, one of the biggest challenges, or one of the things that really bothers me a lot, is how can we get an effective governance in our country and get the systems to actually work for the benefit of our people. And I'm speaking this on one issue, that if you go right now in the country, there are a lot of government or county employees that are not getting paid. But you'll find the MCA, their salary every month gets in, their allowances get in. You go to the governor, they get paid, their allowances get in on time, there is no delay. MPs, senators, everybody gets paid except people who actually need that money, who are supposed to be paid their work. There are people who go for 6 months, others go for a year. And you go to a higher learning institutions, the problem is even worse. So let me just start from there. Let's just start this discussion from how can we get to a place where you actually get paid for the work you do and you get paid on time. It's not that the government doesn't have the money. The counties get the money on time. But somewhere, somebody is playing some magic tricks that we really don't understand. And do we have a recourse? Bwana Boyd, wacha nianze na wewe. What do you think?
Kumekuwa na shida. I remember 2014 when I went to attend the meeting. There was the meeting where the president was, and there was this salary remuneration committee. Na nilikuwa niliinua mkono nikiuliza maswali, lakini they ignored that. I remember the controller, the person was MC of the program, master of ceremony. Baadaye akanikuja akaniambia ulikuwa na swali gani? Nikamwambia hiyo swali ningeuliza kila mtu, but one thing we have to do is I think there's a lot of workers in our country. There might be something like that. And then there is a way that other people get paid for not working, and those who work hard, they don't get paid. So the salary system in Kenya imekuwa na shida tangu kitambo, na watu wamejiwekea salary. We have not controlled the salary remuneration ways so that we can be able to cater for everything that is there in our country. I pray that the next government that is coming soon watakaa chini na wajue nani anafanya kazi wapi ili watu wapate mshahara yao and who's working, because we have a system that is not working. We have to accept that the system is not working. So tuna shida mingi sana. The system is not working. That is my contribution as for now.
All right. Thank you so much, Bwana Boyd. Bwana Kip, what says you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good to see you guys. I think mine is very short. Today we professionalize everything from government services. We hire people according to their qualifications. People have to be, punished for not doing their job. That's the day actually we will be driving our country to the right path. But for now, so long as we are hiring our concubines, our girlfriends, our wives, and our mothers-in-laws and sisters-in-laws, then absolutely nothing is going to change. The more, or so long as we're electing people because they paid us 100 or 1,000 shillings or 500 shillings, nothing is going to change. They will actually go back there and pay themselves using the offices that elected them to occupy. And that is how they pay themselves, by taking the very same job, hiring the very own people who are not qualified. Yeah. Now, when you hire people who are not qualified, you can only expect some kind of awkward jobs to be done. So I think the onus is on the people of Kenya to elect people based on merit and the work ethic and what they present and what they advocate for, and not because they gave us the money that they took from us in the first place. That would be my contribution.
Okay, thank you so much. To me, I don't know where really to start. One of the things that really confounds me is how people see it, because I know some of the tricks that people use is, for example, they know the money is there. Somebody takes that money and puts it on a fixed deposit account, personal fixed deposit account, to generate some interest. And most of the fixed deposit is like 6 months to a year. So you are actually holding people's money for 6 months or a year before you pay them, so that you can generate extra income for yourself. And these people have families, they suffer. And then when they go asking for their money, you threaten them with firing them or other measures. Or, you're not going to get a promotion, you're not going to get a raise. Nyamaza, pesa yako utapata. And then it takes months, it takes years before you get paid. And I've known of cases whereby some people actually die before they even get paid. 6 years, 7 years down the line, people have not been paid. This is one of the problems that I wish that our current system, or even our members of parliament, who should be able to address and find out. For example, the cases of nurses and doctors or teachers. Why would these nurses or doctors not be paid for months? If the county government does not have a system to pay, the national government then should take whatever they're supposed to be paid, pay them directly, and then forward the rest of the monies to the county, so that these people get paid on time and on a regular basis, because they have families to take care of, they have bills to take care of, they have obligations that they need to meet. Trying to, I don't want to really switch gears a little bit, but I don't know, Kip, if you saw, there was a posting. I was talking to Mr. Boyd before the show started. I saw something circulating online about a gentleman in Nanti County that posted some communications they had in the WhatsApp group chats, and it was mentioning some senior people in the county government, or some shenanigans going on in the county, and apparently this guy either is under disciplinary action or he's getting fired. And to me, if for us here, you are called a whistleblower, and the government, there are laws that protect you for that.
You're getting what?
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know, how do we get to a point whereby, because I saw one of the comments, I think you may have seen it on the WhatsApp group. Somebody was said, wenda nunua ugali ya 3,000 and wacha kupiga kelele, hiyo mambo imeishi hapo. But our counties are losing money in ways that they are not supposed to. And this money was supposed to help the local person. We were supposed to bring development to the local people, but what we did was bring corruption to the local area. Because then it used to be, hey, enda Nairobi, pesa iko Nairobi, enda Nairobi huko ndio pesa iko. But now, pesa imekuja kwa mashinani, but hiyo pesa inapitia tu kwa hewa hapa, you don't even get it. Is it time for us to start calling these people out in public and actually call them out? Because now it goes back to the same thing is, what is the Senate doing, who is supposed to be the overseer of these counties, and investigate some of these issues and actually get people accountable?
I have 2 points on this one.
Yes.
One, there are proper channels of communicating what's work related. So if I am on WhatsApp group and we are talking about this stuff, it means I have not actually gone to say work emails and leaked it out.
Yeah.
That would, call for disciplinary actions. Well, I'm not going to debate whether the content of what is on that warrant some, disciplinary action or not.
Yes.
But I think what's important is the person has not abused the workspace. His phone, his number is his,
yes.
And he can use whichever way he wants. Those people who are in that WhatsApp group can get out or remove him if they don't want. But I think the best thing about WhatsApp and the new technology is some of these things we putting ourselves out there, and at least they'll get back to us if we're doing the wrong thing. So I think the best thing is the alleged, disciplinary action to be taken on. It's easily can be challenged by the same person. He shouldn't have much to worry about, but given our country really following the due process is one thing. That would be the only issue that I have with it. The other thing is, I think whistleblowing also in Kenya is protected. I know in Australia and in America, you actually get paid if someone, and I think also in Kenya, if we get, say, 100 million from whistleblowing, I think you get 30%. So yes. Hopefully that can happen in our country. And if not, some of us who are interested in political office, we might need to introduce that.
Yeah. Good. Hey, I see my friend from the other side who is technically my neighbor over here, Bwana LM. What do you say to our people? We've talked about issues about governance and paying people for what they have done, and issues about management and whistleblowing. What's your take?
I think, thank you, Mr. Rama. And it's good to have such a debate around the table so that we can enlighten those who are not very familiar with what the law takes and what also labor laws talk about. But as well, understanding the law has limits as well. There are exceptions, and there's no laws or there are no rights that are absolute. So that being said, in terms of employees, we want to begin to appreciate our employees and empower them, and learn that when an empowered employee, the appreciated employee is more productive than an employee who feels that he just has to do what he has to do to earn a living. So, and that's a culture that we need to recognize and introduce to our workplaces, spaces, especially in our country. Kenya is a country that is known to adapt quickly to anything and everything that is across the globe. And that is why Kenya stands to be a unique country within the space of East Africa. And that's why you will find that Kenya stands to be hated by very many countries around, because we are very competitive, because we bring about diversity and versatility when it comes to adapting to new environments. So I would like also to join what my friend Kipchumba said in terms of information and whistleblowing. It is a good thing to do, but also you must understand what contract that you joined or you signed at your workplace. Some workplaces actually prohibit you from sharing work-related information, and that might that information, based on the contract that you signed, might not be very might not work in your favor. So you talked about WhatsApp and the social media that now we have, but also it's important to understand that information that is extracted from social media can be used against you in a court of law.
Yes.
And it does meet the threshold in terms of rules and under rules and procedures of evidence. So that being said, it is good for people to understand that before you do leak the information out there, try to seek that kind of immunity. And lastly, I would like to say that in terms of salary, you do not want to, if you notice, many organizations pay you, the more responsibility you have, the more they pay you, because they know that if they are starving you when it comes to salary, then it means you're going to steal in order to meet your standard of living. I cannot be called a CEO who does not get my salary in time, because my standard of living and the cost of living and my lifestyle is completely different, and I need to meet it.
Is that from the studio of the market? Oh, somebody's driving and interrupting them. Please, if you join, please go ahead and mute yourself so that we can have better communication. Let me see Well, LM, we can't hear you. It's like either the noise is coming from you or somebody else. Kip, I see your hand up.
No, I think Mr. LM has some issues with his audio. Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Bwana Kip, let's I'm trying to make this conversation about current affairs and trying to keep up, every day when I wake up in the morning, there's something funny going on in the country, and something that makes like, oh, the country is on fire. I mean, last week we were talking about the Laikipia insecurities. I've seen the government has stepped in some ways trying to rectify the situation. But there's one thing, I don't know how I can put it. We always come up with good ideas, but the implementation or the thinking through of the issue is where we actually fail. I'm talking about this, and I'm giving two instances that really come into mind. One is the current ongoing debate about the CBC education system. And the other one is something that people actually, I don't think a lot of people are aware of. It was a bill that was passed about potatoes, the areas that grow potatoes and how much you can pack in a sack. But also tucked into that was you can actually go to jail because the seedling you are getting are being provided by some companies that own the rights to that seedling. So if you make some sale in a certain way, you can actually go to jail or pay some hefty penalties. So in as much as the law was intended to protect the farmer and get the farmer to make money out of their produce, but is going to punish them more. Now, when you go to the CBC, the idea of the CBC curriculum, competence-based curriculum, is a good idea, but the implementation of it is where we have a challenge. And I was amused the other day when the CS for education said, for teachers who are who cannot afford printing papers, you need to use a projector. And then a friend of mine said, can someone ask the CS how someone who has never seen a projector in their life, how are they going to use it? Because if you really cannot afford to print a document, how are you going to afford a projector? So do you think we are lacking, or for lack of a better term, thinking through process of implementing something that we see is a good idea, like LM or somebody else said, Kenya is a country that we really latch on an idea and try to, we try to move with the events, current events, and move with the technology. But do you think our implementation actually lacks? Because look at the 844 system, the way it was proposed. It was a great system, but somehow our implementation lacked, and all of a sudden it just went down. Now we are getting worried that the students that are coming up on the CBC program are going actually not to be effective in the community. Let me start with you, Bonaboit. What is your, I know you are a student per se outside the country, but what do you think? Where are we missing the point?
Thank you so much. Yeah, for me, number one, you might forgive me for that. For me, CBC, I don't think it's something that is working.
Yeah,
it is something that we brought up out of nowhere. We didn't consider, thinking about what the researchers say, what the lecturer says in the university. When you start something from the foundation, you have to know, where are we heading to? Is it robust? Is it vibrant? Is it holistic, actually, to have this program? So the problem is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for that. So the problem is one thing. We have not seen what will be the end.
No, go ahead. Somebody joining in, so you're still good.
He muted himself somehow.
Okay. All right. Okay. While we wait for him to come back, welcome, Bwana Ambassador. I see John Rugumi here. I see Yakubu. Yakubu, let me go to you because you joined in earlier than the rest of the guys. Huyu Ambassador wetu leo tutamfine kwa sababu amechelewa kuja mkutano. Keep, I need you to collect that fine.
Joined hapa sababu bado niko natoka appointment. So fine is not an void.
Okay, but welcome. So, Ambassador, we are talking about systems implementation. Basically, one of the hot topic right now in the country is about CBC, our education system and the CBC. And I was posing the point that sometimes we take an idea, but our thought process and our implementation of that idea is where we lack. Boit was saying that for him, CBC is not a good thing. We may need to revisit and do something else. What do you say? Before I get you, Ambassador, to talk, can you allow me to have Bwana Yakub say something? Let me give him a chance to talk, because he's been here. Unless he just want to be listening only. Yakub? Haya, Ambassador, wacha nikuje kwako. Hebu toa maoni yako.
Yes, Joe. Maneno ya CBC imeleta tabu kabisa. Of course, like any other thing. And when you want to build your house, what do you do? Or when you want to build land for investment, what do? You do something called a feasibility study.
Yes.
You go see the area, you go assess what is the market, what is the population, who are your target group, and all those things. Now, CBC ilikuja in a way that no one was involved. Not even, CBC, the stakeholders and everyone, the parents, the students are the people who are meant to be approached, and everyone to be brought on board to say their view. But CBC came in as quick as it was, and eventually kila kitu ikawekwa into the maximum speed. I want to say that CBC is a scam. It is business, and it is nothing to do with helping the mwanafunzi who is studying that. It is actually hectic to the parents. Why? Who are these people who are forging this? You need to ask yourself that. Number two, who are these stakeholders that were approached and approved this one? Unanisikia?
Yes.
So, and is when these students finish their fourth form, wanaenda university gani? Is this watakuwa wamepewa, watakuwa wanaenda kuendeleza ile vitu walisoma primary na high school? Are there jobs related to this? Things like those ones are things that we need to ask ourselves. Ama ni kitu pia in the next 5 years wanasema CBC is not working, let's go back to 844. And yet people have wasted their time, people have wasted their resources, people have wasted a lot into it. I will ask you this, before 844 was brought in, if you go to history, a lot of research was done, a lot of commissions were formed to look into this before it was rolled out. Let us know who are these commissioners, who are the people that are working behind CBC. Wakuja watueleze ni nini wanataka kabisa, wanapenda kutuambia, so that we know who are these people. Why did Matiangi come in and within 3 months wamesema pilot inaitwaje hiyo pilot project imekuwa okay, everyone is okay? Teachers, if you go to even my local school that I very much envy and see what they follow up on what they do. Ukiongea na mwalimu anakuambia Alfred, to feed all this information to a computer and you don't have internet, you don't have power, it's hectic. Why roll out things yenye hauna resources? Go to a place called Jabila, tuko ndani kabisa huko penye hakuna stima. How be feeding this without power, be feeding these things without computers, be feeding these things without internet? How do you expect? Now kids out here, kama CBC ya Bwana Rama ingekuwa vitu kama mtu anaingia maneno ya kujitengeneza, maneno ya electronics, watu kujifunza maneno ya internet. We are still in the 1920s. We are focusing things in 1920. CPC unaambia mtoto hapa kutengeneza vitu zingine haisaidii bwana. People are in the evolving world yenye kila kitu inafanywa in the all technicalities. Unaambia mtoto akuja atengeneze kufanya clay glass ama ilikuwa inaitwa. That is a scam. I try to find this and we need to just tell us how to do this thing.
Inaonekana leo ambazo na upepo imekuzidia sana. It's too windy for you, so the wind is picking up on the microphone too much. Bwana Kip, let me come to you. Where did we go wrong? Did we miss the boat, or we didn't even have the boat from the beginning? You're muted.
Now the problem with CBC and like any other program that Jubilee government tried to roll out, they have good ideas. If really implemented as they should be, would be really far. The problem with Jubilee government, and especially the leader of Jubilee government, is in business of doing business with government. Now, the CBC, if you've seen what Sonia said, the problem is no stakeholders were actually involved from the program design. You see, rolling out a program that affects the entire country, especially education system of a country, you cannot just do it within a lifetime of or half lifetime of a government. Lifetime of a government in Kenya is 5 years. You need to design a program for about 5 to 10 to 20 years. Now you design the program after doing the research, and the research actually is, need-based. Do we need to change the system as it is at the moment? If the answer is yes, and then where do we start? There's something called piloting. You cannot just start a program and just run with it without testing first and see if it's actually working. So there's no piloting. They have never trained the teachers themselves. They don't even know what CBC is. Even myself, I am well read. I would think so, but I don't understand what CBC is. I don't understand what it actually needs to meet and what cannot be done in TTIs that CBC is doing in primary school. You know, you could have targeted a new, say, instead of university, you do TTI or KMTC and Kenya Medical Training College. That's where you should have applied confidence-based program. After you've developed, then the usual reading, writing skills in primary school. Mm-hmm. So the problem is no one actually. So if actually the stakeholders were called, some of us will be stakeholders on this. Will be sitting down and design the program. And evaluate the program. And then you come back. Did we evaluate, in fact, did we evaluate 844 and see if it's not working or not? We've never.
No.
So in any program design and program rollout, you do the evaluation at the end, whether you need to continue or to stop it. We don't know how that happened. So it's very unfortunate. Just like a laptop project. Just like stadiums, just like what else did Jubilee tell us? NHIF and universal healthcare. Mm-hmm. At least universal healthcare, they did roll out at some parts of Kenya, and that's called piloting. So it wasn't successful. That's why it doesn't actually cover the entire country. So when it fails to roll out in the piloting, that's when you discontinue. Because it would have been costly to just roll out as it is, and yet it's not effective. So that's where the problem is. We have never professionalized anything that we try to do as a country, and we don't care about our children, and especially because the politicians who are actually advocating for this, their children are studying with us here in Australia, in America, in US, and everywhere else. It's unfortunate.
Well, to me, that's one of the confounding issues that I ask myself. I say, what are we trying to achieve? I get the idea of competence curriculum, but what are we trying to achieve? And like you said, are we developing basic skills of just reading and writing fast? Because, one thing that Kenyans are good at is making fun on everything. I mean, you have seen online where people are putting up scarecrows. I saw one today where they say one of the requirements of curriculum CBC, you have to go for CRE, you have to go and conduct a crusade and then write a report. Because that's how people are taking this, is like, yes, you are trying to apply life skills, but the approach is really out there. I don't remember anywhere where the teachers who are supposed actually to implement this program were taken even for a 1 week seminar. Nothing. Bwana Boyd, you were cut short a little bit when you were presenting. Let me get to you. Give us your comments on this issue of CBC. I know you are categorically said it's not workable, but can you expound a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you so much, Joel. I appreciate so much. For me, I say it again, CBC is not working for Kenya. Did we think about where will our students go after the system is changed? Where will they get employment? Is it working for the region? Is it working for the country? Number one, it's not working for the country. Number two, will it integrate in the region of Eastern Africa or East Africa? It won't. Number three, is it robust? It's not. Number four, is it holistic and is it vibrant? It's not. So whenever a curriculum is changed, the problem with democracy now, sometimes I say democracy is not for us. It has been given away to actually, I might use a bad word, but there was somebody who was mentioning that democracy is given to the dogs. When somebody comes in, because there's this issue of a minister, CSR said, and it is written on a stone for them, because it came, if they had called the head teachers. Here, I remember when our curriculum was changed in 2009, when I came to India. We went to the department and we were told that we're bringing new syllabus. The students were called in the hall. There was a workshop, number one, 3 days workshop. And then they were presenting what was to be changed for us, just a university department, 3 days workshop to change the syllabus. Then after that, then they had a conference, and then they called researchers from different states in India who are doing journalism that came. And then after that workshop, national conference was called. Then there was international conference, which was called, and then they brought in the people of UNESCO. UNESCO has syllabus for developing countries. It's not the Minister of CS just bringing in something. UNESCO in 2007, actually, they have made syllabus for almost every subject, for which it is part of the United Nations. They know that actually the system that was there in the West when we were getting independence was not working for us. So UNESCO has designed curriculum that the government should look into the curriculum that UNESCO has, take it and add whatever they had. So you just merge up whatever 844 system you had and what UNESCO is having and bring in. So they should have had a workshop, then a national conference, then international conference, and then call the head teachers, call the university stakeholders, call all of them. It should take at least a minimum of at least 6 months for it to be brought. So they're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Somebody wants to make history, someone wants to make money, somebody wants to do something else. So it is not something that they say it is an achievement for them. There's no contribution for that CBC. For me, it is not something that we should implement.
Well, thank you so much. So before I get to the rest of the panelists, I just want to read a quick comment here on the YouTube that says, Ju and Jagi says, I keep saying until the day we put our education system in our constitution, then we shall continue playing with our children's education. And I agree. I mean, we have to have these things enshrined in a system somewhere so that, like you said, we can't have somebody coming in and just declaring from today henceforth, we are going to do CBC. And then because he's a cabinet secretary of that ministry, then his word becomes the law. And nobody else can challenge that. So I'm even surprised that nobody has even actually gone to court to challenge this process. Where are we going wrong? I mean, are we sacrificing the future of our country to a system that is bound to fail? And we know it's failing even now already, because everybody's everywhere is complaining. Bwana LM, and then I'll get to Bwana Austin. Karibu sana Bwana Ngeno, but let me start with him and then I go to Austin for your comments, guys.
Thanks, Joe. I think for me, I applaud our leaders for trying. I just want to recognize that what they are doing is good. Is better to try. I think this is a policy issue, and Kenya, for instance, has been working with Canada since 1968 in terms of policy development or formulation, and they are well experienced in conjunction with Kenya School of Public Administration. So looking through that, since this is a policy issue, there are stages of a policy. Maybe the motive is good, but they skip the stages of the policy. For example, the first stage of the policy is issue identification. You identify the issue. And then once you identify the issue, you start formulating the policy. And then you look for the tools, and then you say, this is what you start conceptualizing and visualizing how this policy will roll out. And then you bring the policy for like a pre-evaluation, like a dummy, like you can have a dummy and
I'm sorry, it looks like your audio again is giving us trouble.
I'm using an external.
Okay. Oh, okay. The external
won't take long.
Okay.
How about now? Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Go ahead.
Okay. So, like I was saying, once you are on the.
Oh. There it goes again. All right. While you try to get your system back online, if you can mute, I'll get to Austin and then we'll come back to you, Bwana LM. Yeah, looks like the external speaker is having a problem. All right, thank you. Austin, karibu sana bwana.
Asante sana, Joel.
Yeah.
It's good to have this conversation once again. Yeah, I joined late because I wake up late. It's now around 4 o'clock, yeah?
Okay.
But like my time, niko na time ingine tofauti sana. I normally work at night. So I came this morning to sleep from 6 o'clock to up to around 2. So that's the good thing with the 24-hour economy. Yes. You can choose what time you want to work.
Yep.
And I hope one day Kenya will have the same kind of economy where you can decide to go, which time you can go for work. On this issue of CBC, personally, I don't think even I have. I've observed and I've listened to so many people speak about it, and I've asked questions some of the teachers in Kenya. And one thing I've noted is that CBC has evolved over time. The government is trying to give it kind of, they don't know whether it's a curriculum in itself or it's a system which has replaced the 844. Because I asked the question, has 844 been replaced? They say no, CBC is a system. They don't know whether it's a strategy, whether it's what. So because the government is still giving Kenyans a blackout on what's happening in the education sector, it all comes down to how it was implemented or how it was adopted in the first place. That gentleman has said in every program that a government has to come up with, they should have they should follow a well laid down protocol from inception up to actualization of up to implementation stage. But now the government is a bit cheeky because I think whoever adopted it saw the money side of it and said, hey, let's change this thing. We can get money from here and there. And then they forgot the implication that we'll have on our generations to come. Somebody has said now, if this thing backfires, it has implication internationally to reputation of our country. Yes. Some people are still underestimating the significance because at the end of the day, here we come to Australia. For example, I came to Australia with a 844 qualification, an undergraduate degree from Kenya, and it's accepted. But going forward, if this thing backfires, you can get admission to any university in this developed world because they know your country is messed up with the education system. They will ask you do another extra exam before going to the main class. Mm-hmm. And I've seen many countries, even the Asian countries, they have problems sometimes. They come here and then they are subjected to 6 months, some kind of a course for 6 months, like a breaching course before you go to the main course. Because of what? Their education system back home. They are missing some points somewhere. So the same thing with CBC. Yes, we have good intentions. We want to arm our kids with practical skills that will help them. My question is, I did art and craft and music in primary, and I could make so many things. What happened to art and craft and music? Yeah. At what point did they decide that, no, we no longer need art and craft and music, home science and business? Because it was working. Personally, I still do so many things here in Australia because I have craft skills. I fix everything, like plumbing job. I don't need to call a plumber because I'll pay a plumber $500 to fix something that I can do it. I do it myself. Mm-hmm. So many things I do it myself. Why? Where did I get those skills? I didn't learn from YouTube. I learned from the education system 844, which was equally good. The thing was, we should have looked at 844 and say, are there any other challenges, any loopholes, and then fill all those gaps. Even CBC should have been within the 844 system and said, okay, let's bring back those skills within the 844 system. And then follow the same protocol on how to implement. You don't just go and issue a ministerial statement and say we are changing things. There are so many sectors that are affected. Even the publishers have to be notified. Yes. Because you have to publish. I remember publishers published different books last year or the other year. You see page 10 of this book is different from page 10 of another book. That's chaos in education system. We can't afford to have chaos in education system. If a country has chaos in education system, forget about it. Whether you have the best tourism, sports, and everything else, you are done. No one, America will not respect you. Who will respect an Indian university will not admit you because they know you are an half-baked person. So the government should always look at this thing with seriousness it deserves and avoid sideshows. The other day, Soshon was speaking in another radio station. And he spoke clearly. I could see sense. And I wish everyone heard what he talked about. How he fell out with Huru. Because he was opposing this thing because it was not done in a proper manner. Consultation was not done. Everything was not done. And then they wanted to force it. And the teachers were not well trained to implement the same thing. So who is implementing? Somebody who doesn't know the whole thing is implementing this. And they are still forcing. They are still forcing it up to now. Magoha, whom when he was appointed to be cabinet secretary, we thought he's a well-educated person and he knows how to do things. You know, a professor knows that you cannot just come and something to do with education or matter, anything as a process of doing things, as an academic journey. But he's implementing the same thing because of monkey see, monkey do. You go to a ministry, you still go to a ministry to find people doing this thing. It is wrong. You think it's right because you found it that way. So you don't even have the guts to say, no, this thing we inherited from British. There are so many things in Kenya we do. I think we don't have a lot of exposure to what's happening globally. Because, in whatever sense, in whatever we do in Kenya, we should always strive to be at bar to achieve global standards, what's happening in other countries, especially developing countries. I stressed last week of the need to benchmark what's happening in developed countries for us to succeed. Because we don't need to come up with to reinvent the wheel. We look at what is the best education system in Germany. What are they doing? What Singapore did to be a great nation. What Malaysia is doing. What did they do in 1950s when we were still that part, Kenya? That made them the most developed countries now in the world. There must be something to do with the education system. Because education now boils down to health sector. It boils down to management or judiciary and everything, even law enforcement. It's lacking because at the end of the day, the entire world, the entire government, the entire country will fall because even Mahatma Gandhi once said, if a teacher becomes corrupt, the whole world will be corrupt. Why? Because the teacher touches lives of everything in this world. So, and that's education, by the way. Mm-hmm. So my point is, government should be sincere. And we should have people in government who look forward and chat. We should have a vision for our country. And selfless leaders. Because for Singapore and Korea to be the way they are, people had to be sacrificed. In fact, in Korea, they had to kill some people. Mm-hmm. They hang you literally if you are corrupt, like the next day. They don't waste time. That's why we're those countries. Now, whenever you are entrusted to look after something, you do it with a greater vision for the country. You implement an education system knowing that it will drive this country for the next 100 years, not 5 years, because you want an election next month. Not to look into education sector and say, I want 5 billion for my campaign next year. Yeah, it doesn't work. You see, Soshon was saying, when they implemented this thing, they said the budget is 25 billion. And the next week, 9 billion had already been paid out. That was to tell you that people were implementing something to look for money. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing? So we should have candidate discussion and we should be honest as Kenyans. And probably we should blame the leaders and blame ourselves equally because we elected them. We fail to vet these people who are going there. And let's stick to books. What is in the books?
Wow. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. I don't even know where to begin. I think, to me, one of the things that really lack in our education system that I wish could have been implemented is innovation. A chance for people to grow. We have seen so many examples in the country of kids who design. I've seen pictures of somebody, building a model of a building. When you look at it, you're like, wow, this is exactly the building the way it is. That is a great mind. but we don't have a channel to develop that mind in innovation so that this person has a chance to develop their skill to a place whereby it's applicable in the real environment. You guys have seen the story of this young lady in Nairobi who turned plastic into building materials. Now, I would have expected any government to provide this person with an environment where this product actually can be used, because then it becomes cheaper to construct buildings. So all we need to do is find viability of this product. Can it withstand rain, weather, fire? Is it safe? Is there any chemicals that can affect people? Those are the things we need to check. And then if it works, then we implement it, because we have plastic all over. That means we are getting rid of something that is affecting our environment and putting it into proper use. And that's where we are missing a lot of, I remember when the coronavirus pandemic started, there's a young man in Western Kenya who came up with an idea where you don't touch anything. You press your foot, the soap comes down, you get the soap, the water comes down, you wash your hands, and you walk away. And the idea just died right there. All you see is the governor of one of the Western counties buying, the 20-liter containers for 10,000. And you're like, wait a minute, this same 20-liter jerrycan in the Soko is only 200 shillings. Why are you buying it for 10,000? And people really don't ask these questions, because somebody somewhere is making money. But at the end of the day, the reality is you can make all the money you want. You can steal all the money you want. But I can assure you, when people get to push to the wall and they don't have a way to survive, they have nothing. They will climb. You can build a 50-foot wall to protect yourself, but I can assure you they will break it down and come in and get whatever you're hiding. Because they'll say, if you are building a 50-foot wall, that means kuna vitu mzuri nyuma ya hiyo wall. So let's destroy the wall and go get those things. Speaking on the same issues, you guys saw the price of petrol is going up, which automatically means everything else in the country, prices are going up. How did we get to this point? I mean, if you look at the world, I haven't seen OPEC saying that they have increased the price of petrol anywhere or crude oil. I haven't seen those prices going up. I haven't seen any shortage anywhere in the world. So I'm trying to understand where Uganda, that gets the crude oil or processed petroleum products through our roads in Kenya, or they can go through Tanzania, but they still sell petrol products in Uganda cheaper than in Kenya. How is that possible? So, I mean, guys, tell me, where are we going wrong, and how do we start holding these people accountable and ask the right questions so that we can get these people to do their job and answer the questions the right way? Because somebody wakes up and says, from today henceforth, 1 liter of petrol is 200, and that's it. We have no recourse.
Let me add on that, because when you see things happening like that in Kenya, it's all about corruption. And I think they always say the buck stops at the big boss. Let me tell you something. If in the days of Kibaki, for example, and these are, I must say this because a friend of mine who was a very close friend, who was a friend who worked for Kibaki, very close, once told me, I really respect Kibaki. He said one day, some of his close friends approached him and asked him, hey, you are the president, we need this contract, we will make this money. And the president looked at those guys. They were really close. I don't want to say because how close it was, because it might lead to something else. But they said, Kibaki looked at them and said, this is corruption. And those guys never expected the president to say that. They said, how comes? And they disappeared. That's how Kibaki was. You know, he could not see things happening wrong and never say anything. The same with Moi. Moi angeona wananchi wakisava asiulize nani chief wa area hiyo. Wapi DC. But now look at the way Uhuru is running the government. Is everybody is running up and down. The next thing you hear, his close family members are doing business with the government. They are being paid exorbitant money for doing nothing. Then how do you expect corruption to end in Kenya? My goodness, how do you expect? Everyone. And I think a kickback. Kickbacks are so much. Jimmy Wanjiki mentioned about your SGR. How he came up with the idea. Yes, it's true he came up with the idea. 50 billion. The next thing he was told, okay, go aside. This thing must be 300 billion. So the question is, hiyo pesa hiyo ilienda wapi? Ilienda kwa mikono ya wakubwa mpaka chini huko. The line of your government yote. So hiyo corruption ikientrenjiwa hivyo, the president never knew that it will spread like cancer in all the country. Now the country, look, Nandi County, somebody is being paid. I saw something in social media. You see, these per diem and allowances excessive. You see, it is in the counties. How do you get rid of those corruption? Even the anti-corruption body itself, compromise. They can't. Where do they go? They cannot arrest anyone anymore. So the country will go down like that until we reach a state like Central African Republic or Zimbabwe, where there is a hyperinflation. It's even baffling. I have a friend, in fact, I'm staying with a guy from Zimbabwe, and he has told me the real situation in Zimbabwe. So whoever is stealing from Kenyans, he should know that he will amass wealth, and the next day, his wealth will be valueless. How will you survive? Say you've stolen 2 billion, and the next day, it is devalued to almost zero. You can't even sell the same property. And that's, there is a breaking point for everything. You do corruption, and you push wananchi to the next, to the corner. They will start becoming criminals. They do this. No one no longer cares what's happening in Kenya. It's man-eat-man society. It will reach that point, and it will be chaotic. To restore that country will require a lot of years and effort. Let me tell you, unless we get the next president to be a sober-minded person who will crack a whip, we need somebody who can crack a whip. Otherwise, it will reach a point, runaway corruption and everything. It will be chaos in Kenya.
Your audio is still having problems. I know, I'm sorry. Your audio is still having issues. Yeah. We'll get back to you, Bwana LM. Maybe try a different system. Bwana Ambassador, wacha nikuje kwako bwana. Hebu tuokoe hapa bwana. Tunapotea. Hata Indian Ocean itakuwa ndogo bwana. Tutazama sisi wote. The whole country is sliding to the Indian Ocean. Yeah?
We tumesama already. It is unfortunate job in what is happening at this day and age. We have people who have studied, who have gone to school, who've spent a lot of years studying, getting to know the future. But we have a few people who would take the whole bread and keep it with themselves. Unfortunately, on matters of the fuel hiked prices and all this, and we have regulatory bodies that do this, but unfortunately, they are as humble as EACC. There is nothing these bodies actually are doing, and I always give everything back to Mwananchi, because before even mafuta iongezwe, wacha niseme hiyo kwa Kiswahili, before mafuta iongezwe, ugali Nandi ilikuwa ishapanda, imekuwa 3,000. So you can imagine how things now will be when mafuta sasa kuanzia leo. I saw the guys for Matatu Association guys wanting to strike. It is time for them to, because it is the way to go, because these people don't listen. Mtu wa matatu akiumia, raia anaumia, na raia akiumia, economy inaumia. So if there's no money, if there's no, I saw some guy making fun yesterday driving, saying, "Thank you, Uhuru, for inflating the prices on fuel, because there's no one on the roads. We can drive as how you wish." So that is how painful this thing is. If you take it literally, these things is real. The president has no clue on what he's doing, to be sincere. Kenya has been looted left, right, and center during his helm. Don't we miss Kibaki? Kibaki was a no-nonsense guy, funny, but very, very strict on matters economy. And Kenya, at the time of, or at the helm of Kibaki, had a double-digit economy, literally, like on paper. But hii jamaa iko kwa mdomo tu inasemwa, but there is nothing. There is no studies. Everything is hiked. Even the local thing like ugali iko juu, everything. Kila mtu anataka tu kukula. Kila mtu anataka tu kukula. And the president is a toothless president. There's nothing happening. He's not even saying anything. He comes in, lectures us all about corruption, but his people are leading in the same. We need to call in for a disbandment of EACC. Truly, we need to call it off. It has nothing to do with Mwananchi. That thing is for people who work there and who they work for. There is corruption everywhere, but these people are not prosecuting anyone. These people are not helping in any way. And ukiwafinyia kona ama wakikuja hata county government of Nandi, without doubt, there is a lot of corruption happening. But these people will come, go around, take their own portion and go. And we are not ashamed to say so. Because there is a lot of money that was lost. Go to history, go to the money that was donated by World Bank. Nothing, they did nothing with those money. But they will come there and they will say everything is okay on paper and on the ground. Yet watu kwa ground wanaumia. So we take this blame to Mwananchi, Bwana Joe. We have accepted that sisi hatuwezi, yet we have the power. Mm-hmm. If we say today hatuwezi panda gari sababu mafuta imekaa na hatuwezi enda kazini sababu hatuwezi manage. People hawajalipwa tangu wengine July. Now you expect them to pay for transport ya matatu yenye imepandishwa na hajalipwa. Mtu unatarajia huyo mtu aende kazini na kupitia nini? You expecting someone to fuel a car na hajalipwa tangu July. Like Austin said, huwezi kuwa unajenga nyumba ya 1 billion na jirani yako hana hata chakula. Atakuja kubomoa hiyo nyumba. Mm-hmm. Chukua ile vitu iko ndani, nani ameenda hasara? Si ni wewe? Mm-hmm. Hivi unajilimbikizia, unaleta vitu na unasunda, hivyo ndio waja ambao wanasema alafu unaisha kubomolewa, nani ameenda hasara? Yeah. So that is how this government is. People wataanza sasa kukua watu, and that is why you hear there is a lot of insecurity. All this is because of hakuna kazi. Everything is inflated. Maybe uko na 10 shillings na kitu unataka kununua ni 20. You have to make a way of getting to that thing with that $10 shillings that you got. So Mwananchi akona nafasi, and this is your time to say it is no, we are not going to pay this. We are joining the Business Owners Association. We are joining watu ya Matatu Sacco Association. We are joining watu ya Pikipiki. This is your time to come and say, muachana hivi vitu ya kuja kupewa reflectors. It is your time to come and say now, hatutaki maneno ya mafuta iongezwe. Msitumiwe tu kwa siasa kukuja kukaribisha wanasiasa na kununuliwa hizo reflectors ya shilingi 20. This is your time also to stand out and use your power on saying no to the hike of prices on fuel. Stand for yourselves and for the Raya. I think that will be the best thing.
All right. Thank you so much. So I have a challenge for Kip and Boit, and I want you to tie these two things together. We are talking about the price increase of the petroleum, but there's something Alfred mentioned, security challenges. On your guys' opinion as aspiring politicians, Do you think an MP needs 3 police officers to guard them? And why? Because if the MP needs those number of police officers, that means we have a problem. I mean, you go in all these places, the president is the most guarded person, but everybody else, you really don't need that number of police officers to guard you. So no wonder we have crimes all over, because half of the police force is protecting the politicians, or even more than half. Kip, let me start with you. Give us your opinion. What do you think?
Number one, as your incoming member of parliament, I will not need any police officer standing behind me, beside me, or in front of me to protect me. From who? What am I afraid of? The very electorate, the very people who are electing you will be the one you're afraid of. Then you must be doing something wrong. And I think it's about time, actually, Kenyan people stand up and say, no, it's no. No politician, apart from the president, deputy president, finance minister, security minister, should be protected. Not even by 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, absolutely uncalled for. Here in Australia, premier of an equivalent of governor, you know, in Kenya, tunakutana kwa train. She sits on the train, na read and have coffee, just going to work, just like normal. I met Minister of Security here. By then alikuwa Minister of Security, anaitwa Marisa Payne. Tulimit kwa club tu kadogo hivyo ya, you know, hii ya wazee. Look, and she had only, because she was on official duties, she had what were, you know, the government, because she was presenting something. So ni kama ya retirement for the army people. So she was on official duty. Other than that, even Prime Minister of Australia still drives himself. And we've seen all the time. We are only afraid of our own because we do shoddy jobs. We've made people get used to handouts. And I mean, it's so disheartening. You know, the other day I wrote something about, you know, what I would do when it comes to employment and education. And someone copied the entire thing, could post elsewhere and be like, oh, look at this one, he's full of himself na Kiingereza mingi. He did not address what I said. The other one commented and said, amekuja kutembea kupeana pesa kwa raia imani. Goodness me. It's unbelievable. So really, we always blame politicians, and I think I'm tired of blaming them. It's about time we turn back and blame the people for electing the very same people that we're blaming. When it comes to matters, you know, the cost of gas, kerosene, petrol, and stuff like that. The problem is, the Kenyan government has borrowed a lot of money. And also, we shouldn't be blaming President Uhuru Kenyatta alone. We are actually ought to blame the MPs, because their job is to regulate and to make sure that the debt ceiling of a country is not just somehow expanded for no reason without justification. We should also check where we're borrowing the money, at what exchange rate, at what rate are we paying, returning it. So the reason why the prices of gas in Mendaju is because the government is trying to get money to pay the Chinese people. The very money that Raila used to complain about now is enjoying it. I think, like I said, enough of blaming the politicians, the MPs, the president. The buck stops with people. And they have an opportunity of its own come 2022 in August to write a new chapter for Kenya, a chapter that puts leadership and working for the people rather than working for themselves because they paid you money. Even me, if I pay money to someone now, I must go and take it back. It's unfortunate. The other thing is, some of these things starts with us. Every year, December, except last year, I normally go home. On those, every December I go home, for some reason I get stopped on the road. and police anasema you've been speeding, na anasema akijifanya like he knows exactly the speed. Fortunately for me, I have in camera ya gari. The other day they did the same for my partner, and I'm stobisha na kusema, madam, unaenda na 120. Madam alikuwa akienda na 80. For the first time nilisikia mtu akisimama akisema, police, no, I'll not pay you a dime, not a shilling, not for nothing. Give me a receipt and I'll go to court. I think as a member of parliament, police will have camera anytime they're stopping you on the road. The police cars will have cameras in front. Anytime a police officer is talking to you, they will be recorded, and you will tell us why. In fact, they will have a reason. In fact, as you put on that camera, you know, there's where you sign, you say, if it's turned off at any point for no reason, there's a fine of 100,000 coming from your salary. So you know exactly what's happening. These things are easily implementable, and the way you can implement is anyone who's speeding, overlapping, fine it 5,000 to 10,000. How many people overlap in Kenya? How many people speed in Kenya?
Plenty.
We need only 1 year, and you'll have paid for all the police officers to have cameras in their cars, and nobody also should be arrested for speeding unless you're going over 20. That's how you keep these corruptions. You should be given a receipt that anytime, and there's a lot of things to change. Even car registration in Kenya. That's why unaonanga iti imeisha brakes. Umeona gari ya Australia inaisha brakes, or America? No. How? Because you don't do the checks every year. So we have a lot of things to solve. We have a lot of things to fix, and I hope they give us the opportunity to go and fix these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You bring in quite some good ideas. Inaonekana wewe Boita alisema alipigiwa simu na polisi kutoka Kenya akatishiwa kidogo. Maybe you're going to get the next call. Bwana Boit, give us your perspective in regards to the issue about security. Do you think it's justified for a member of parliament to have 3, 4, or even 1 police officer guarding them? Do you think that is justified? And what about this issue in petrol product price increase without any market trends that is justifying the increase?
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. What I can say about the petrol issue, number one, is that it is about money. They know that we are addicted to the black gold, that is the petrol. We are addicted. Africa is addicted to that. And even if they put 1,000 per liter, still we are accepting that. Because our system is not working. There is no research for renewable energy. There's no way we have to have green vehicles. We have solar-powered vehicles. No, we are going electric here in India. Vehicles are going electric. And the implementation is done because the system of education is working. Unajua tunajaribu, let's say, watu wanajaribu kusema waige mfano wa education system ya Canada, ya Australia. It is good. Wanajaribu kufanya hivyo. But the problem is that after kufanya hivyo, wakati wanapeana contract na tenders na kila kitu, ni 2 countries, India and China. Hamtumi watoto wakuja wasoma huko. Nakumbuka profesa fulani akiniambia unaenda kusoma India mahali kila kitu ni fake. Nikaambia vitu fake, nikaambia ukikuwa mgonjwa kesho hapo Eldoret utakuja India. I remember, I am not supposed to talk about it, but when our late Laboso was taken to London, alafu ikakuwa ni anapelekwa kwa referral from London to New Delhi, you know, that thing, from London to New Delhi. Mm-hmm. It sends a signal to our politicians. Politicians wanakujanga hapa sana. What I'm trying to say is this, that we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to accept that we have failed as a system. We have failed as people, because at the end of the day, we can talk to these people, youngsters, but wakati wa kura utaangalia to how they vote, the voting patterns. If we have to change everything that we cry for, it is next year. If Kenyans don't come up, for me, I pray, even if I don't enter anywhere in parliament or anywhere in the corridors of power, that at least 70% of the so-called politicians, they're not leaders in Africa nowadays. No, we don't have statesmen in Africa, we have politicians. a politician is like a ladybird who hatches the eggs they have not laid. So unless and until tuwatoe kwa power, bado tutaendelea kuumia sana. Na issues of security, I remember when I was in Mumbai, nilikuwa na simu, ninatembea na simu kwa mfuko nimeweka kwa jeans, nasikia simu imeniguza, nasema wacha niguza hapa nisinyang'anywe, nisipigwe ngeta. Hema akaniambia wewe bwana, tutakaa hapa railway station Mumbai, in 30 minutes around 5,000 people wanakuja. In the next 1 hour around 60,000 people come, na railways, trains zinakuja zibeba watu. Aliniambia utaweka Apple MacBook hapo chini, utalala usingizi uwekelee kichwa kwa MacBook, bag yako itakaa hapo, bora umeguza hata na mguu, utakaa mpaka asubuhi, people will pass and go, mwenye alikuwa atakwambia baya, weka I'm going. Anakuambia naenda, yani hawezi chukua bag yako. Mwingine Kenya angesema huyu jamaa amelala, atasongesha kichwa hapo hiyo, achukue laptop yake. Sijaibiwa India. But why is it happening? Because the system has failed. Mimi kama kwa mbunge ama kwa president, the president needs security, the vice president needs security, the anti-corruption czar needs security. But unaangalia wakati MP anafanya campaign, he doesn't have bodyguards na hiyo security yote. Lakini wacha kwa politician anataka, why are we guarding him? We are guarding the money that he has stolen. We are guarding the power that is amassing. And he wants to be seen as, ukienda politician akuja kwa kanisa ama akuja kwa sherehe, tukimnyima microphone nyimeni microphone kwa kanisa, nyimeni asiongee, uone vile itafanyika. But Kenyans, we have become psychophants. Tumefika tu mahali tunawapea this opportunity, they do anything that they want. Right now kuna stadium ya Mkenya Muhindi, kuna Mkenya hapa Muhindi mwenye namjua, alikuwa ananiambia kitu moja, in Kenya if you want to do good utaprosecute kwa kufanya good, if you are doing bad they'll praise you by the so called politicians. Mtu anakuuliza nitakula nini? Nilipigiwa simu jana nikamwambia boy anataka 10,000 t-shirts. Nikamwambia hiyo mashine ya kuunda t-shirts ya 10,000 nitaenda kuuliza, nikishapata jana jioni nikapata, nikamwambia ya kuunda 10,000 t-shirts. Hiyo mashine ni kama 3 million. Mashine ya kuunda t-shirts. Wewe jamaa kaniambia hapana, boy nataka tu niunde hiyo kitu. Nikamwambia KRA watakugonga hata pesa utalipa 10,000 t-shirts. Na KRA watakugonga. Akasema hakuna sitalipa. Unaona? I kept quiet. And I was called yesterday. Somebody wants 10,000 t-shirts in the next 3 months. And I was telling him we can get the machine now, unaweza undia wengine basi, we can have our kids, it needs only 10 people to be employed to make this t-shirt for campaign of next year. So for them, they don't care about bringing in all the innovations in our country. Everybody cares about how will I make money, ndaundaje pesa, kutengeneza pesa. Nikimalizia ni kama the solar system. Siku hizi hapa India, the government encourages you to have solar panels kwa nyumba yako juu, na utaconnect on the grid, and then if you are producing excess energy utauzia kwa the grid, and then you get money. At the end of the day mwezi utakuwa na negative. Kenya nikigenerate electricity yangu kwa Mende huko hivi Cherangani Hills, nitakujua kesho naambia nimeunda waterfall na generator, nitawekwa ndani. Lakini hapo wana encourage. So we need to see about the system of education inasaidia nchi kwenda mbele. Asante.
Thank you so much. When you talk about solar, to me, even my biggest passion, I love solar energy because one thing, I'm not going to deal with the KPLC in any way. And their inflated cost of electricity that unapewa ni kama dawa ya hospitali. Mara uko blackout. In 1 month, technically you only get 12 hours of worth of power supply to your house. But you still pay for the whole month. And nobody asks any question. But if you do so I think then, and that's why I almost quipped that when I say that when we were talking about petroleum price increase, tukasema watu wa pikipiki ngasema maybe they need to move to solar and put solar on their motorbikes, and then you don't have to pay gas. Then what are they going to do? They can't get the money. They don't have a choice but to bring the prices down. So I think one of the things we need to address or actually start pushing for is renewable energy. We have enough sunlight in Kenya. We have enough wind. I think, is it Dutch? They have a train that is powered by wind. Can you imagine? Bwana, kutoka Mombasa mpaka Kisumu ama mpaka Eldoret, hiyo wind iko hizo, ukipita hizo milima bwana, sio, it will be a bullet train. It will be in Eldoret within 30 minutes from Mombasa, or an hour at most. But we are lacking that innovative environment And I think that I'm sorry, inaonekana LM may drop out. I wanted to give him a chance to say something. But how can we translate these talks into actionable items? And I'm saying this praying that Cape and Boit, you succeed in your endeavors to enter office, because then, since I know you, I'll hold you accountable. And I think that's where we need to get to, where we make it very personal. I come to Kip and say, Kip, we were talking on Taco and you said you're going to do this. Can you show me what you have done? I may not come from your constituency, but this still are my people. This is my country. Can you show me what you have done? Can you show me what you have done in parliament in terms of passing bills or pushing for bills that are going to support our people? I'm not sure about this article. It just flashed on my Facebook page this morning when I woke up, that the parliament is trying to push for retirement benefits whereby an MP, the family can get the benefits, including to the fourth wife. Sasa nikauliza, the ladies in parliament, are they going to be allowed to marry up to fourth husbands so that they can get the same benefits and they will vote for the same thing? So we have a very high misplaced priorities when it comes to issues that affect the country. And I know for sure Kenyans are hardworking people. You show them a way, you give them an environment, they will get products, they will work hard and make money in the right way. The problem we have encouraged, where somebody goes to parliament and testifies and says, I was walking on the street, I had there is a tender being given. I walked in, I came out with a 10 billion tender. Where on earth? And the people in parliament, mtu amekaa kwa committee anasema, oh, okay, sawa. And that's the end of it. Nobody is held accountable. Jamani, where sometimes I get frustrated, but also I'm still have hope that our country, we are going to wake up. Like Austin said, if we are not careful, tutakuwa tunaenda kununua sukari kilo moja kwa duka na gunia ya pesa. Because that's the value, that's how our money is going to be devalued. You know, I remember when we talked about Kibaki, I remember there was a time we were crying. You know, when the dollar exchange rate came down to 70 shillings. You know, we were used to being 100. There was a time we went up to 120 and then it dropped down to 70. And we were like, man, my dollar now doesn't, you know, hata nikituma, it doesn't have an impact. Now it's been steady for 106 for the last almost a year and more. That speaks volume on, and the trend is never going to reverse unless we get a government and a governance that is going to work for the people and tame this runaway train of expenditure that is not necessary. I don't know, you guys, we're coming to half an hour past almost to our time. Let's, you know, LM, I see you're back. Let me give you a chance to give your contribution, because I hope now your system is good. Let's hear from you first before we go roundtable final comments.
It's actually a very interesting evening that everything failed to work. I think for some reason technology has terribly failed me. But that being said, I just want to recap to very many issues that you have discussed. You've mentioned about many areas ranging from policy, and I was very passionate to speak about policy. And that being said, so technology has decided that no camera for me, but I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Perfect. So let me first talk about the recent things that you've mentioned as I go a little bit back. I just wanted to mention to what, just in addition to what Joshua said, I just want to bring to your attention that Kenya is actually managed by the products of India. If you look at the very many professionals that we have in Kenya, they are actually from India. So how can we then thrash the products that are managing our country in terms of from every area. And so education in India is not something that we can underestimate because if you look from the High Court, the judiciary, it's all from India. Look at the banking industry, all round. Account management and so on. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the policy, the security. Actually, there's this question that you asked whether it's necessary for member of parliaments to have security. I don't think there is a problem for a member of parliament to have security. The incoming member, Kipchumba, when you get into that area, it's very dicey and you will need that security. The problem is we give you security and you fail to deliver what your mandate as you promised. You fail to live by the agendas that you promised during your campaigns. We need our members to be safe. Security becomes number one in any country, and that's why we need to have that security. And there's also other good ideas, Mr. Kipchumba. You mentioned about us empowering our police. Even if we give them cameras, Mr. Kipchumba, the culture of corruption surpasses the amount of energy and resources that we can put to make sure that we are able to bring them accountable. You mentioned a while ago, I think it was Joe, about us having, in terms of farmers and protecting. Let's look here in North America, especially Canada and US. If you look at, we have companies like Monsanto. They have lobbyists up to the White House, and they can get anything because they fund the campaigns of all these politicians. So it's very difficult to challenge what they intend to do and how they want to go about it. Look at the insurance companies. They're stealing left, right, but they are highly protected by the very same people that we elect. And also, so in terms of the cameras, you mentioned you were comparing Australia and Kenya, for instance. Kenya has tried. I want to give the government credit. I'm not trying to sit on the fence. I do recognize that they have failed to a certain extent, but they have made an effort compared to our neighbors, and we are slightly ahead in terms of accountability, in terms of community community policing, and you can see the system is actually working in terms of intelligence and so on. The last time I tried to tell the police, I tried to approach the diaspora courtesy of with the police. It didn't work. And so sometimes they say when you go to Rome, sometimes it's you behave like the Romans. Lastly, I want to say that when we give the police certain powers, we open loopholes for them to steal more from wananchi. Last year in 2020, I was in Kenya, and I missed the exit around Langata, and it was past the curfew, and I found myself exiting on Mombasa Road, and I brought myself up to Nyayo Stadium where there were the police, and they stopped me, and they said, it's not us who said that we should not be out at this time. It's the police. The president said, and when the president said the discretion is with the police, you know what that means. And so you have two choices: either to proceed to court, or we can make it easy for you, at least to avoid the 20. I had about four guys in the car, and they said, "Would you rather pay 20,000 and go home, or would you rather go and pay a fine of 60,000?" sorry, 80,000. What would you rather? Any person would rather pay 20,000 and save the 60,000. So, so the last thing I want to say is we are growing. The government has tried in terms of infrastructure, in terms of borrowing. The problem that we have is that we have very good ideas in terms of implementation. That is where we have a problem. What can we do? Now, someone asked about the CS comes in and changes, and just the word of the CS is the command. When we started this conversation, I wanted to run you through if all of us could observe what policies are. In fact, in terms of legislation, like we say, the oversight houses and legislation, the Senate, the Parliament has failed us. They have failed us because their focus is not the interest of Mwananchi. Their focus is what they can legislate that works to their interest. So if you look at the policy, first, when you look at it, it's very theoretical, but in countries where they follow this model, it is very successful. US does it, Canada does it, Australia, and very many other countries, and they're very successful. When you look, the first thing is to identify the problem. And when you identify the problem, then you formulate the policy. After formulating the policy, you run a demo or try to see if it works. If it doesn't work, how can you model it to work and tailor it to work according to your country? Then you do the decision in terms of consulting the experts. We have people who have studied public administration. They're very good at policy formulation. There is and then you go ahead. Once you agree, then you do the implementation. After implementation, you do what is called evaluation. Did this policy really work as intended? If it failed, where did we fail? And then that way, you go back to the drawing board. I remember when I was in third year, I was told to write a policy review. I wrote a policy review about public health, and I was given a grant of about $8,000. Why? Because I wrote something that was an oversight in the policy, and I was rewarded for doing that. When we started rewarding our experts, remember I was a student, but I was rewarded. When we started rewarding our PhDs, our experts, they become productive. And then there is also the issue of innovation that Mr. Joe, you talked about. In these countries outside here, that's why you see the country like United States has invested a lot in talent. They see that you are very good in athletics. They tell you, come, you are an American citizen. They see that you want to go to army. They say, come. We give you citizenship, and we train you and we empower you. They see that you're innovative in your thinking, and anything that you can do, they empower you and reward you. Now, there's something called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They start empowering people to go into that. They put a lot of resources in terms of coding. When, as our government, in terms of through the Ministry of Education, have they empowered our youths through their gifts and talents that they have? No, they haven't. And that's why we have people who have education, knowledge, but they cannot implement it even when they have been given opportunity at their workplaces. So I think there are other areas that we can tap to. For example, Kipchumba, you mentioned of art and craft and music. This other side, we talk about apprenticeship programs. Now, what can we do to try and say, okay, you're not very smart in class in terms of writing the jargons, but you can do hands-on work. If you were supposed to go 1,000 hours in class to get a degree, let us give you 900 hours of hands-on work, and then you go 100 hours in class for you to know documentation and stuff like that, and you become better because all of you have spent 1,000 hours in the process of learning. When do we get away from academic, just pure academic, and we get to be hands-on in everything that we're doing. I think it's Austin who said you don't need a plumber, because these are the skills that you learned at very early age. So I think in overall, and in my conclusion, our country, our government is ambitious. Uhuru is a very ambitious person. He might have a good motive for our country. Any leader who has been there maybe has had a good motive in our country. But remember, when you get to power, you don't get to say you're not the overall person. Sometimes there are cartels who call the shots. Remember when Obama came in, is an example. There are certain things that he couldn't do. There are people who and also any government, there are people who put you to power, and once you get to power, you are actually a puppet. So let us understand, as much as these presidents might want to do certain things, they might fail. And so lastly, the criticism that we get, the misplaced priorities our country has, is only used as conduits to swindle money. For example, the idea of the PIN number, what is it called? Huduma number.
Yes.
It is important for us to have Huduma number, but was it urgent?
No.
It wasn't. But again, we were forced into it, we were dragged, and they caused a state of an emergency for us to go for it. What has it changed in our life that our ID cards would not change? What has it changed that our other forms of identification, our driver's license, could not change? I think we have very good ideas, but the problem is we use these ideas to swindle money of the public and leave the mwananchi. And we are, like Kipchumba, you said, the mwananchi also, it's about time to know that you do have the power within you at the ballot box to elect leaders who believe who will bring change. And those of us who come from diaspora, the wananchi back home, they think when we go back home, tunaenda kupigania the small things that they are there. Perhaps that's not the reason why we go back. Perhaps some of them say, Rudi uosha wa mama. The last time I came, I've not seen mahali pa kulima kaburi. I've not seen mahali pa bariria maua or something like that. But let us just know that we are bringing back the education, the exposure that we have seen. We have seen how jobs are created one-on-one. I think I ran in 2017, I was in the ballot box, and one of the things I was told, you go back to Canada, bana. Where siasa is local. Who said siasa is local? I'm a Kenyan, and I am born there. I'm only in a foreign country. I've learned, and when I've come back, give me the opportunity. I'm not sikuji kupigana kazi. I'm bringing the expertise, the skills and expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, LM. That was quite a wide-ranging aspects, very good perspectives. So guys, we are coming closer and closer to the time to end the show. But before we do that, as usual, just a round table to give our opportunities. Naona ambassador na cheka hapo. Wewe ambassador, wewe ugali ya 3,000 utatoa. Wacha tutaongea maneno baadaye. But Austin, let me start with you, and then I'll go back to LM to give a conclusion. Naona kuna mgeni ameingia hapa. I'll give him also a chance, and then as protocol dictates, tutaenda kwa ambassador, my local MP. I'll start calling him my local MP now because I think he's going to be an MP, and I'm claiming him. Nitahamisha my residence to your constituency, and then back to Bwana Boit. Let's start with you, Austin. Just give us a brief summary of what do you think, where we are. Do we have any hope? In about a minute and a half, 2 minutes most. Your final thoughts.
Yes. Thank you for that. I think, yes, we still have hope for our country. That's why we are here. But I mean, I've spent almost 2 hours now discussing something, not because I want to be part of the discussion and to change the country. Siwezi kaa hapa Australia, assuming I wanted to be a citizen here. You know, I wouldn't mind what's happening in Kenya, but I still have brothers and sisters. I have relatives. I have friends in Kenya. I still identify myself as a Kenyan. So we are here and we still want something good for Kenyans. We have talked to so many things, including innovation, how to do things. Yes, there are a lot of things to be done according to, let's say, the best standard practices which are available globally. So we have to drive this country to that standard or to that stage whatsoever. Vitu kama innovation, government has to focus on innovation. Hatuwezi imba kila siku innovation. You see, even for example, in Kenya, the cost of data is so high, still so high as compared to many countries. Why? Because maybe the government is really taxing the sector that should be driving the economy. Even energy sector, if you tax energy sector, you are crippling the entire country. Mm-hmm. So the focus should be those areas that drives economy. The government has to ignore for the sake of driving the country forward. For example, energy, the subsidy. They have to subsidize energy. So fuel cost has to really come down for us to grow like manufacturing sector. Because manufacturers in Kenya are really suffering. Cost of electricity in our Fugusa. In fact, there are so many manufacturers who have moved to Egypt. Or somebody decided to leave Africa because Kenya was the last hope in Africa. Let me tell you, most manufacturers in Asia or even in the United States, when they don't consider Africa as a market at all. Even here, manufacturers in Australia, whenever they are marketing things globally, they say Indian market, China market, US market, Europe. They forget Africa because they think nothing comes out from there. Yet, like brewery, I was doing a paper when I was doing analysis of some supply chain courses in class, and we were analyzing something like Heineken. Heineken, the revenue yao inatoka Africa. Na ni ya Dutch, inaenda Dutch. They are not known in Netherlands. But the biggest revenue inatoka wapi? Nyinyi mnakunywa pombe. Lakini when it comes to air conditioning system, Africa is not considered as a market. They go elsewhere. So it's really an irony. So government has really to focus on that. Kama for example, Swile walikuwa nataka kila mtu access laptop or phones, technology. The government should say we zero rate tax for those items for 10 years. Look at agriculture. There was a time when I think when Ruto was the cabinet was a minister of agriculture, ali zero rate tax ya matrekta.
Tractors, yeah.
So people could import tractors quickly na agriculture sasa ika develop. Wetu uko reserve benye natoka hakuna tractors, sisi bado tunalima na mkono. Why are we still using our own when it can be mechanized? You see, because I cannot afford a tractor. Kama tractor ni 4 million, why? You see, na unakuta bei ya tractor kuimport kwa Japan, maybe the price is $10,000.
Yeah.
That's $1 million. Lakini ikifika kwa market hapo ni 4 million. You see, that's the tax. Serikali imechukua a lot of money up. So if you want to grow agricultural sector, please ignore that sector, support by eliminating tax completely for a certain period of time. Then the economy will start growing from that period, you see. Anyway, there are so many things to be done, and those guys who are aspiring to be area MPs, nyinyi mutaenda formulate policies kwa parliament, my friend, Sharia. For this country to work. Otherwise, we will still be messing around. We rely on you because you'll be our ambassadors. If Chumba, you know how things are done here in Australia, and I see you have the idea to go and implement in Kenya. But now the question is, do you know, like what the gentleman said, kuna stakeholders lazima involviwe. Hata wewe uta face backlash, kuna cartels huko, the approach. Tukipata ambassadors wa 10 hivi, wakiwa members of parliament, kesho wataenda pole msienda ku confront and they will start saying hii ni watu wa diaspora mmekuja ku revolutionize Kenya. I remember one time I used to live in Eldoret, but one day nikaenda reserve jioni moja, vijana wa town kunipiga, jamaa mmoja akaniambia nyinyi watu wa town mnatuambia nini? Can you imagine Eldoret na nimeenda reserve, mtu ananiambia wewe ni mtu wa town. Na sasa mimi na Nairobi kidogo, there was another guy from Nairobi came and start talking about political situation in akaambia mtu wa Nairobi, wewe rudi Nairobi, sisi ndio tunaelewa ground. Sasa huyo jamaa ameenda wapi? Ameenda nyumbani December, anaambia wewe ni mtu wa majuu, rudi majuu kwenda osha oko ama kuosha whatever. But let me tell you something. We have to appreciate ourselves and say we should be ambassadors and people should look up to us. We know even those people who are giving you bad names, they wish to be here and they are missing a lot. Yeah. They need exposure and we have to approach them gently and soberly. We wish you all the best to you guys. Mukifika huko msituaibishe. There was a guy who visited here in Australia sometimes back in 2016 or 2017 anaenda kung'ang'ania kwa governor. So we shared our mind and I told him, hey, ukifika huko bwana, do things differently. Wewe umepata opportunity ya kuangalia what's happening here. Can you go and do things differently? Unfortunately, amekuwa governor lakini he does nothing. There are a lot of scandals. Ni watu analipanga watu pa DM girlfriends na concubines mpaka unashindwa what's happening. Wewe mimi nikiwa governor alafu ni chief of finance amelipa watu pa DM, nitamuuliza kabla hata haijafika media, nitamuuliza why are you paying these people this? I can sack you or do whatever I can do because they are powers. Lakini hapo a lot of things. Msiende kutuaibisha. Mkituaibisha we will lose hope. Kenyans will lose hope. And this thing will stay on record forever. So tutakuja ku revisit.
Aya, keep umesikia, there is a revisiting coming up. So I see there is another guy who joined us late, but let me give him an opportunity to say something. Bwana Mark, karibu sana. If you want to contribute or say something, please give you 2 minutes. All right. Bwana Mark, inaonekana microphone iko mbali kidogo. LM, give us your final remarks in about a minute as we conclude the show.
Hello.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Oh, yes, Mark, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. My name is Mark. Mark Chirchir, friend to you and friend to Kipchumba, friend to Gerald. Well, I just came in a little bit late in the conversation, but probably next week, I'm gonna join you guys. I'm wishing Kipchumba all the best. Kipchumba, we tuko pamoja. Mi unajua mimi. But the thing is, the one thing hatujaongelea ni mambo ya CBC. I don't know what you guys think about CBC.
Oh, we talked about it, Mark. You missed that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I came
That's
a
okay.
little bit late.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. But
yeah.
hopefully next time around, I'll join you guys earlier. But nataka niwasalimie alafu next time. My name is Mark Chirchir. I'm based in Texas, USA right now.
Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to say hi.
As Mark, salimia Made sana.
Nitamsalimia Rama.
Hi, Asante. Okay. All right, Bwana LM, thank you so much, Mark. LM, give us your 1 minute concluding remarks.
Yeah, I think even Augustine, as soon as the spirit of leading people comes to you, the temptation is imminent and you cannot resist it. The per diem, you will sign it. Maybe you might not even know that it has been signed under your name. But that being said, I think I look forward that our government recognizes the importance of technology and ensure that in every county, and I think this can be done through the central government, because despite the fact that the central government is giving a budget to the county, it's some counties don't generate any revenue because geographically where they are positioned, and by also trying to look at it like this, where I come from, I think it's now empowered because a neighbor and a neighbor, they are out there, they are outside, they're in diaspora, and so that area is easily developed because of the little that we get and send back home. So the government through empowering the youth, keeping them off the streets by putting ICT centers. And these computers can be found by a lot of organizations that donate. All we need is to reach out through an authority that can seek funding and business partnership with this other organization. For instance, we have hospitals, for example, in Diaspora. They change hospital equipments within a span of a period of maybe 3 years or so. So why don't we have local hospitals reaching out and saying, hey, help us with this equipment, we can take care of transportation to get them home. So what the hospitals are going to do here, they're going to write them off during their taxes as they are buying other equipments, and they get their money. So they have nothing to lose. So I think us being able to reach out, there are a lot of people out here willing to support, but we are unable and unwilling to support. So there is something called a broken window theory that I see in our government, the culture, and because of that, look at Muhammad Ali. Alikuwa jijo pevu. Look at the guy who was in Ridiculous. And we thought that they were very passionate and changing the dynamics of politics. But as soon as they got in, they're quiet because they're eating. And then also, we need to start avoiding politics of division, because think about it. Someone picks up and says, wheelbarrow, a wheelbarrow. And they trivialize a symbol of a party, for example, an orange, an umbrella. What does that have to do with the economy? That's just a symbol of the party. And then we trivialize it, and Kenyans were very good in trivializing things like that and digress from the main picture. While we are busy, trivializing certain things, certain people are busy stealing. And that's why I say we should not persecute one thief in Kenya. All thieves are equal and should be equally persecuted. The Constitution of Kenya is very clear. Let us not say that we do not have laws. We do have very good laws. We do have a very good constitution. The goodwill of implementing and respecting that sovereign constitution is what is lacking. And then lastly, I believe there is no single person who is going to eliminate corruption from Kenya. But I believe that through rolling down of systems, employing technology, these technologies will work for us. And this technology, for example, there is a documentary called Panopticon. When you look at Panopticon, what it's basically talking about is the cameras are everywhere. The big brothers are watching you. That's why America has started taking soldiers from the ground, and they're using drones instead because of the casualties. And there's delays, and they're still as effective as you can. When you talk to our youths and say, let us do awareness, let us bring awareness, bring youths to Zoom, they will tell you, my friend, we cannot be governed through Zoom. But the world has been governed through virtual meetings. The world, the presentations in boardroom, the disagreements in boardrooms, that's where solutions are. So the moment, and also, Kipchumba, when you go back, the very first people that will start fighting you are your age mates, are the youths. They will tell you, go back where you came from, because they're envious of what you have achieved. Let us avoid, as Kenyans, let us not look at what Kipchumba is having. Let us look at what difference will Kipchumba bring. And my friend Kipchumba, a word of advice as you're going, I will be also vying for the governor in Nyamira. But as you go, mimi 2017 niliambiwa ni wewe tu, and sometimes you will go to the ballot box, utapata ni wewe tu peke yako. So be careful when they start praising you. You might find that they are praising you to get what you have in your pocket, and you end up being alone. And don't use family resources for campaign. The family is greater than everything. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much. Hey, That's very, very good word of advice and very good comments, LM. And I think you are the second person today who has talked about Niwewe too. Somebody else said the same thing on Facebook today. He said, he went home, he was told Niwewe too. And for sure, when he went to the ballot, alikuwa yeye peke yake tu. Everybody else left. So, okay, winding down now, let me come to my ambassador. Bwana Boss, sema maneno yako ya mwisho.
Hata sisi tunapatia paka vijana. Naambia waende wajikaze, sisi tunawapatia baraka, na kama wazee tunawapatia mate. I think what we've shared today, Bonarama, is quite insightful, and I hope people who are following would actually implement what we've shared. And of course, if people who have been following also can follow as well as, just as we can say things, but it's hard for us also to implement. Unfortunately, quite a number of days and many a times when it comes to implementing things and we find it a bit difficult or tedious, then we say, wacha tufanye hii tu ya mwisho, ama when it is you tend not to do it because ni wewe unasema wacha niibe hii moja, and then we do it next time. So implementation always starts right from day one, right from then. So I wish to also echo what the last speaker said on donations and things like the hospital equipments. Actually, here in Perth, there was an upgrade of the children's hospital, and it's not far from where I live. And the old hospital had apparatus and equipments that were still in good shape. It was still new. They actually upgrade most of their equipment on a cycle of 5 years. And for the new hospital, because it was an high-tech one and they had to bring everything brand new, they had to get rid of everything from the old hospital. And an hospital in Zambia benefited from everything from the old one, courtesy of the state government donating to the government of Zambia through Zambians living here, through people who wrote to them saying, actually, we would need some help on this. So like you said, if we are here as well, if you're wherever you are, also try to reach out and, of course, try to help in any other way, selling out what you see that it needs to be supported back home. And unfortunately, again, sometimes most people are demoralized by what is happening back home. Ukiona you are doing your effort and then unaambiwa ugali inauzwa shilingi 3,000 na mahindi iko Nandi, kila kitu iko Nandi, inakuwa ngumu kidogo. So we also want to urge our leaders to behave, be human, and also know that whatever they do will impact not only them, but the entire county. People would be skeptical to invest in Nandi because they say there is a lot of corruption. And if people are skeptical and afraid to invest, then the common mwananchi feels it. It's not only the governor or his people are feeling the pain of kuharibika, but the entire county is. So I want to say that if you are given an opportunity to lead, and Kipchumba, wewe wacha tuseme hiyo ya ni wewe tu, haitakuwa ni wewe peke yako, ni wewe kama raia wameamua ni wewe unaenda ndani. Please go and be someone who is sensitive enough. You've traveled well, you've seen things how it's done, and we give you our blessings and to represent vizuri, ukuwe mtu mwenye tunaweza kuwa. We don't even want to say we would call you for anything, but the best thing you can do is implement things that will be able to cater for all of us, and we would not be bothering you saying Kipchumba anakuja nyumbani bwana, so nitafutie kitu hivi kidogo nikuje nijiingize. But when people are happy, we would be happy. When our parents are happy, then we would not need to call you because they will be able to access many of the things that they don't currently, and we will be able to at least all us here relax. The kind of stress we go here through at the moment, mtu ni mgonjwa, uko kwa harambee ya jirani, uko kwa ya nyumbani, uko kwa ya nini. All these stresses is because of not good leadership. All these stresses is because of, many of this is because of health issues. And health is a universal thing that everyone deserves to have. Here in Australia, like I was saying, Bwana, I went to hospital and I was treated, and mimi sikuulizwa pesa, watakuwa tu wanakata from kadi yenye already sotiwa na maneno ya serikali. So that is how things would be. But now in Kenya, and mostly in Nandi, you have to pay upfront. I don't say you don't pay for ambulances, but you pay upfront. The situation is there. You pay upfront before the service. Why don't you offer these services, then come and follow up this mtu? Wanasemanga mtu analipa aje, mtu is in need na anataka kulipa the ambulance, na hata hizi ambulance haifiki, njia ni mbovu, unanunua this highest matatus hizi iende njia yenye hujaitengeneza. How do you think? So there's all lots of issues. Kipchumba, we wish you the very best, and go and be someone who is sober enough to be able to implement all these things. You see how systems work here. Please, you have our blessings. Bwana Rama, we will come back and discuss next week if we get time more on the effectiveness of these counties, because I think when the counties came in, it opened up a lot of corruption, because I think it has been worse than ever. Like, everyone is trying to loot from these counties, and people, even a good person who goes there anaenda kusema bora mimi niko huko, acha nitandike ya umma. So we would have to come back on and see how effective has this county has been for the last 10 years. So asante sana.
Thank you so much. And I think that's a good topic for us next week. So we'll definitely go with that. Bwana Kipchumba, inaonekana already the blessings are pouring on you. For me, what I would just add before I give you a chance to speak is, once you get that chance, instead of sisi kukuja kukuomba, call us. Let us come and talk, present ideas. Let's come and enforce what you're saying and give people practical examples so that they can see what is out here. I think that's what we can offer on our different levels of expertise and what we have learned. Once you get in, give us a chance. If I travel, I'm coming to Kenya to visit. Ninakwambia I'm around. Do you have an event you want me to attend? Then I can schedule that time and just come and participate. That's how we make our country better, by offering what we have. Not sometimes when you give, you get so much in return instead of getting paid. So that's what we need to strive for. So let me give you that chance to give your closing remarks, and then I'll go to my future president to finish up.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the contribution, and thank you for the advice. Well taken, and I must say, really needed. Now, my final remarks are as follows. One, to end corruption in Kenya, it starts with us. I've played my part. Earlier today, I alluded on matters to do with police. I know police are underpaid, very, very much underpaid. But I think there are a few things that the government can do. If you educate their children, if you give them good health care, special health insurance, they don't have to go looking for bribes. So for me, police are not the enemy, but the system that takes care of them is broken, and police should be supported. So some of us will have these ideas, will present it. For me, I refused, and I still refuse to pay a bribe to a police officer, because by doing so, I'm actually enforcing the bad behavior. So it's not about kuwa na kichwa and all that, but it's just doing the right thing. Yes, it's costly. It inconvenienced me before. Nilienda nikakaa Eldoret sijui wapi mpaka Christmas, but I don't regret doing that. Hata na yalijua there are some people actually who stand for the right thing. When it comes to I guess future politics of Kenya, I hope we are able to engage and somehow question people when they say I'll do this. We all know the work of senator. We all know the work of member of parliament. If a senator comes and tell you they'll build a road or they'll do this, you have to question how are you funding. For example, I gave how I would want police to be well equipped, and I've shown how they can get that money is through people who are breaking the law. So everyone else who's adhering to the law don't have to worry. We need to talk about universal health care. Last month alone, since I decided that I'm running for member of parliament, I can tell you for free, I've been asked to attend 50 Harambes. Out of 50 Harambes, 45%, 90% are sickness and illness related. Some people owes millions of shillings, yet their small piece of land is not even 1 million. They have absolutely nothing to sell. It shouldn't be that way. People shouldn't, be, somehow suffer the rest of their lives, and their children suffers, and everyone else within that locality suffers just because of a sickness. I think we must and we have to do the right thing. Taking the small bribes and all this stuff is not going to solve hospital. It's not going to solve our education. It's not going to solve our security. And I still insist, I will not need security because I'll be doing the right thing. If you're doing the wrong thing, you have every reason to be scared of the very people you're asking them to vote for you. So that would be my closing remark.
All right, thank you so much, Wanaboit. I'll call you my connector. You have connection everywhere. But give us your closing remarks as we conclude our show today for Diaspora.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I would love to say that we still have hope for the country. We still have hope for the continent. We still have hope for Africa, and as Africans, as Kenyans, we can be able to come out of the troubles and tribulations that we have. And it is only that we have to implement the things that we have seen. There's nothing now so complex, because sometimes our members of parliament have made the things that were easy, the things that were simple, they make it complex so that they can be able to make money. So every problem we have seen that it is focused on money. And about the security issues, let's say the police. When I was seeing here, the policemen, their children get, the fees is paid for them. A policeman cannot be able to go and borrow money to buy credit and buy airtime. For them, their phone all round is being paid for them. I know the housing system for the police in Kenya. I know where my cousin lives, even the prison officers, those who are there. Nikienda kamiti nikiangalia nyumba mabati na kai unasema kitu moja. What about our children who are in schools, wala wanafanya engineering, wala wanafanya architecture? Why can't we use them so that they can build housing for the police? And it's so simple, it's not difficult. When I see that the diploma students are the one building Bajaj bikes here in Aurangabad for our Bajaj, when I see that the diploma students are building TVS bikes, and when they talk about mileage, in India, they talk about mileage. You want to buy a motorbike, they talk about mileage. And who are doing that? The scooter or the motorbikes will go for a long distance with less petrol. It is their own kids, because the system is working. So we have to go back to the drawing board and see that we bring about the education system that works for the country. And then about marketing and products. Our politicians have gone to parliament and they decide to make business out of everything. They'll make business out of education, they'll make business out of agriculture, they'll make business out of business itself, they'll make business out of anything. Look at Dubai, that is UAE, United Arab Emirates. How can Dubai be among the top 5 exporters of tea when a farmer in Kericho is suffering? We have to look, what went wrong? How Dubai becomes number 2 exporter, or number 3, I think now number 3, or number 2nd exporter in the world. They don't have a place, hata wapande majamchai. Lakini nini walifanya hiyo kufanya entreport? Wamefanya biashara, kuna mashamba, they own farms in Sri Lanka, they have own farms and companies in Kenya, and they export tea. They bring tea from Kenya, wanakuja wanairepackage, wanaunda mzuri, alafu wanai-export, entreport. So we have to go back and ensure that we have to deal with these things. Angalia Airtel, unauliza Mkenya, unauliza kazini yangu, unajua Airtel ni mwindi na jamaa ndio barati Airtel. Anambia, nilifikiri Airtel ni yetu. Akasema tuko nayo Safaricom. Nikamwambia unajua Safaricom is part of Vodafone for 2006. Even the issue of M-Pesa sio a Kenyan idea, it is something that is coming from UK. It's part of Vodafone company. Nikamwambia, this monopoly, we have to break the chain. And breaking the chain is breaking the cartels. There are so many cartels. It's something Not easy, but Kipchumba, I wish you well. And I hope that when you go to I don't know if you're running for governor or Senate, I'm not sure. Yeah, but wherever you go.
Very important.
Yeah. Yes, I wish you well.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish you well, and I hope that you make friends among the people that you meet, the leaders. And when you change their mentality, because I have known some members of parliament. I met most of them. 2014 when I was Kenya, I met some members of parliament. They went there and they told me that, boy, wewe soma bwana, wewe leta makaratasi yako tutakupea kazi, wacha kelele mingi. When I was with 5 CS in New Delhi in 2017 January, you are with 5 CS, you are speaking and everybody's looking at you. Like, I have that picture still, all 5 CS looking at you, and then the president is looking at you. And then you speak, and then the sweat drops down. And then later on, when you are eating with them, then they tell you, boy, wewe leta karatasi bwana, wewe leta karatasi tutaangalia maneno yako. Hii ingine wachia sisi. Lakini then I say to myself, to my country, to my flag, to my national anthem, I know that the leaders, Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, they had this vision for the country. I know what went wrong, not them, but there are some people, the circle around them. This circle, that is the problem. The problem is not the leadership huko juu. Hapa hivi kuna watu, when they go for meetings, they know how to, wanaleta kitu yenye hakuna, and they want to make money out of it. So, these people around these leaders, I don't have any problem with Uhuru, I don't have any problem with Raila, with Ruto. I don't have problem with these people. I have problems with members of parliament who are born there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful discussion. I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming in. Somebody was talking about, police being paid 9,000 house allowance, while an MP is paid 250,000 house allowance. And, that's inequality right there. We have so much that we need to address. We have so much challenges that we need to talk, but we cannot give up. Or we can talk, we can support, we can help where we can. And for people who pull up enough courage like Kip, we can go run for office. And if we succeed, make a difference and make our country better, one person at a time. I think that's the best we can do. Whenever we get an idea, whenever we have a chance, let's present the best of what we have learned out here, so that when we go there, we make a difference, and gradually people will start welcoming the idea that this person who is coming from outside has an idea. Let's give them a chance to make our area better, to make our country better. I think that is the best contribution we can give back to our people. And the idea of giving back to communities is something that we should always promote and have an idea. And I think one of the challenges that I've seen a lot of people complain about is, especially with our country, even when you get donations, the KRA is still taxing you on a donation. I have no idea. I don't understand why you will tax somebody who is donating stuff to the country, and then you tell them your tax bill.
Allow me to say something on that.
So I open up a can of worms. All right.
Actually, currently I have a container in Mombasa.
Yes.
Actually, Nairobi inland port.
Yes.
I was donating a few things to Lanson.
Yeah.
But I'm now starting to pay for storage fee, because these guys want to tax me for donations that are going to Lanson. These are the things that I've worked hard to reach out to people here. Try to spend my time to go collect them, to pack them, pay for the container and everything. And now, they are on me now. They want me to pay for these donations. And these are things that will be given for free to people. These are things that are going straight to the community. It's not of any monetary value to me, because it's going to be given out for free. And McHugh, I've spent a lot of time and money trying to send this. So it's unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate. KRA, actually, I don't know if people who work in KRA are people. They might be aliens. We don't know. They might be aliens. They don't understand the pain that people go through there. So it's so unfortunate. And Austin, well, tractor is a bit better. The good thing, and if it was under Ruto, I echo him for that, because tractors, you don't have to pay any tax. You just pay You just pay the port fee and that's it. So if you got a very good tractor, it's you part with just less than 70,000 and all good, or 100,000 maximum. But hii bwana donation wamenisugusha kabisa. Sahii nimekwama huko, nimeambia mkae naye, mkiona mtaachilia mniachilie tu, sasa nitafanya nini? So yeah, thanks for raising that. And I think Gerald should look for someone from KRA to come and explain to us what are the modalities they use to harass people, to make people feel so bad, and actually to just be heartless as they are. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kip. I think you had something to say too, so I'll give you a chance to say.
Yeah, about donations and stuff like that. I've gone through the same. Normally, I target children's home. Whenever I'm going home, I have donations to make. Somehow, some good people at the airport are like, don't say it's donation, just say Nyawa to go home. But no, that's not the right thing to do, but at least I was saved. Now, there were a lot of Americans, and I'm sure you know, Kenyan Americans who go to Kenya, especially medical camps.
Yes.
We have a lot of nurses in Australia, doctors and nurses in America, Canada, and all that. All Kenyans, all our children, they do that in Eldoret, they do that in Nandi. Guess what happens? Ministry of Health, Nandi, demands bribes. In Eldoret, they demand bribes so that I can go and serve and help my people. I've seen it 2 times. It's so unfortunate, but it's the reality. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know. Maybe we need to have people in high places to address these issues and have contact, because I know for sure we have a lot of opportunities. Hey, Mark, your mic a little bit. We have a lot of opportunities, like you guys have said. I know even for me, local hospitals here, I've talked to them. I see very good functional beds, very good equipment. I say, hey, if I have a way to get this, are you willing to donate? I say, oh yeah. We will even get a container and we'll pay the cost of shipping for you. Just let us know where you want it to be sent. And then when I check on the other side, naambia boss, utagongo tax hapa, hata hiyo vitu utawacha hata, it's costing you more than the things you're donating. And these are things we are sending to our people to help. So I think we have still more conversation. Maybe we'll reach out to Bitok and see if we can get some of these people on our show to ask them real questions. And I think we may need to start even on a CS level and ask these people questions. And sometimes I try to dream bigger. We can get the president on this show and ask him questions and say, why are you taxing us for donations? Can you give an order? Because apparently your orders are being obeyed everywhere. Can you give an order for these people to stop us being taxed? So as long as we can prove it's actually donations and we are not profiting from it, if I'm going to profit, then yes, absolutely, go ahead and tax me. But if I'm giving these things for free, like Alfred is doing, why are you taxing you for whatever? Even if it's 10,000, that is still too much. So guys, thank you so much. I don't want to take a lot of time. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for your contributions. And I think we have done a good service to our country for discussing this issue and highlighting some of the challenges that we face. I'm looking forward to having another conversation next week. And thank you, Gerald, and the guys at the studio for this opportunity to host this show today. And thank you for allowing us the space to give our ideas, to make comments. And for today, the tackle ends now. And welcome for tomorrow with Sharia Wiki. And the guests who will be there, maybe we can ask those questions and see how can we make these changes, especially something that we can pass as a law or initiative that will be able to make changes in our country. Thank you so much, guys, and good night for anyone in the diaspora, and good morning or good afternoon, and good morning to our fellow Kenyans. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.